back to the Talkcast Podshow, the #1 show on the internet. And insert quote here. I don't know, man. We're talking about Marvel today.
Look,
Some
if they're not going to
marvelous
try
things.
hard enough, then why should you?
Is it fucked up to think back around 2008? Us and the MCU started around the same time, and we fell off at about the same time too.
Ow, ow, ow. How dare you? How absolutely dare you?
Try me. I am my own worst enemy, motherfucker.
Yeah, I know. It's true.
But yeah, we're going to be talking about Captain America Brave New World, formerly known as Captain America New World Order, or as it should have been called, The Incredible Hulk 2, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I want to note right off the bat, both of those titles are lame and don't work and suck.
Yeah, it was neither Brave, New, or World.
Yeah.
I guess it had a world. You know what? It had one for three. It made it 1 for 3.
Yeah.
But I do want to do a little segment from my favorite rock movie known as The Rundown, where we talk about some other things that...
The Rundown is your favorite rock movie.
It's... you can try me, but I'm pretty sure it might be his best.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, there are arguments to be made, but it was before his shtick got tired, and it was when he was still able to get beat up in a film.
Fair enough.
So, you tried Marvel Rivals at all? Just speaking of Marvel.
I played a couple rounds as Venom, and I haven't had a chance since because I got busy doing other stuff.
It is very quickly becoming one of my most played games. It has already surpassed Dead by Daylight. It's coming up on Cyberpunk 2077, and I think it just surpassed The Witcher 3 in terms of like my overall play time. I've been playing the hell out of that game. I haven't been hooked by a game like this since Hearthstone, and that was on mobile, so this is saying something.
For me, it's been Balatro lately. I actually got into Balatro when it first came out, fell off, then the mobile version came out, and it was over. It was so over.
Yeah, I've already got gold stakes on all the things on the mobile Balatro.
Oh my god, fuck! I haven't even done that. Then again, I've been focused on high score runs, so. But
yeah.
Still, fuck you. How dare you?
Look, I just go through the grind. I see a deck, I'm like, let's get through that. Why not?
My next one's gonna be Black Deck. I'm just gonna get the gold on Black Deck because apparently that is just pure suffering.
Yeah. But Marvel Rivals has been like the Overwatch 2 that Overwatch 2 should have been, and that Overwatch 2 is trying to now become that it's been forced out of its market share.
Yeah.
Blizzard's been getting its ass handed to it like left and right. Like Diablo got supplanted by Path of Exile 2, and now Marvel Rivals jumps in.
I mean, if they hadn't completely screwed up their business model, maybe this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I think like there are a few things that make it stand out to being like a for real sequel. For one, like the character combos, like the combinations that you can come up with between characters, not only just like ulti combos and things like that, but the fact that they have synergies. Like if you play like Luna Snow and you play as like, and another person's playing as Namor, they get like a third little turret squid that can fire icy shots that slow people down.
I actually had no idea about that. I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, there's character synergies, and I think that for the game to keep going, they just need to keep adding more synergies, because I think that's one of the most unique parts about it as a hero shooter. They were also very smart to make it a third-person game. Like, I think that was very smart.
I can see that.
You're going to sell way more skins that way.
Yeah.
Look, people bought the hell out of that Invisible Woman skin just so they could look at her ass all the time.
I mean, that's the only reason I play Venom.
Yeah, it's a big jiggly butt. Did you know that they actually
made the butts bigger on the dudes?
Yeah, they made the dudes' butts bigger.
The fact that they gave Black Panther an ass, I'm like, thank you. Every game should be... If you're going to make all the women hot, make the dudes hot too. Fuck you.
Not that they aren't in general. I mean, some of those skins, like, goddamn, like they went hard.
Yeah.
And were hard while making them.
Everyone is... Honestly, it kind of reminds me a little bit of sometimes how Fortnite will have like the best looking version of certain characters. Like their versions of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are some of my favorite Ninja Mutant Turtle designs. Like,
shout out to Smite too. Their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are awesome, especially Michelangelo. You should play as him. It's cool. Anyway.
Yeah, but it is crazy to me how Marvel Rivals has some really, really great, like, Rocket Raccoon looks so good with the mohawk and the red eyes. I'm like, oh, He looks very comics inspired. He looks super stylized. He looks a little weird in 3D. Like the 2D art looks a little bit better, but that's what happens when you have really stylized characters in 3D.
Yeah, I was gonna say the art style is like really helping the game too to kind of have its own like identity, as opposed to the Square Enix's Avengers game where they tried to be very MCU with it. This is very comic booky, stylized, cartoony, and I think that works so well.
I think one of the worst things Square Enix ever did was abandon stylization to try and chase after a high fidelity, because yeah, a lot of the stuff they've been coming out with for a while looks boring as hell. It's one of the reasons I didn't play Final Fantasy 16. It looks boring. It looks uninspired. It looks like every other young adult / adult fantasy right now. Please miss me with that. Bring back the fucking black mages with the big blue robes and the eyes that you can't see because the shadow. I'm so sick of games like that. That's why when I saw Marvel Rivals and then fully embrace all the stylization, these amazing designs, Wolverine looks so good.
I know, he's like a little brick boy.
I love it. And none of them feel old or tired. They all feel like things that invoke a lot of what their older designs did, but are new enough to feel fresh and interesting.
The game has like where League of Legends started, like that level of a roster, just a massive roster, and every character still has their own identity. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, insane to me that how big that roster is. I was looking through that, I'm like, my God, I was a little overwhelmed. I basically settled with Venom just because I was like, okay, I really like Venom as a character, and I heard he's easy to get to learn, so I'll stick with him for right now before I try anybody else. Yeah, and I haven't gotten back to it.
Well, you also haven't had your computer for a hot minute, so.
Well, my laptop can run it, but yeah.
Surprisingly, it runs on a lot of things. I can run it on it's not like a Steam Deck, but it's like a Steam Deck adjacent. I think it's like the Rogue Ally or something. It can run it just fine.
Yeah, it turns out that when you're not chasing high fidelity and not trying to make everything look super, super, super brilliant and amazing, you don't need a $5,000 graphics card to run your fucking game. If you let style and good aesthetics and good lead art mold the visuals of your game, then guess what? You don't have to have it you don't need ray tracing, okay? You don't need all of this shit. You could just have a gorgeous looking game.
Look, you can have a pretty shiny butt right in the middle of your screen, and it doesn't need to have ray tracing on it. It just needs to look like a nice, well-polished butt. Just put some, grease on it and it gets a little shimmery. Make that shit sparkle like diamond necklaces.
So last week it was soapy boobs, and now it's greased up butts.
Greasy butts.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, why not? You know what? I'm a man of many occasions. All right. I have many vices. I recently just got like lore as Thor. Like, you know me, in these types of games, I either like playing like the big bruiser type characters or like the really fast move around jumpy guys. I'm not very good at the move around jumpy guys in this. So
yeah, I
Thor it is.
I will say, before people in the comments start talking about it, yes, I've heard about all the controversies with first that team that got fired, which was a little bit more complicated than you think. But then there's NetEase.
It's still shitty.
Yeah, and then there's just NetEase kind of being the worst apparently too. Like there's stuff about that. The CEO sucks. There's a lot of and yeah, all CEOs suck. I'm not excusing it.
He says that as the CEO of Team 4-Star.
Yeah.
They all suck.
But I'm not making billions of dollars. So, but yeah, CEOs of big corporations all suck. How's that?
Sure, we'll go with that. Look, money makes a lot of things worse. It makes a lot of things easier. But eventually, it just turns into greed.
Yeah,
and it turns into...
And it has made video games infinitely worse. Gaming right now is both at the best it's ever been and the worst it's ever been. Because luckily...
We're getting an indie revolution, luckily. Just because there are so many people out there that are able to work on their own things and just put it out there. And I think that kind of needs to be the future of the industry for a while. Same with filmmaking, personally. Because, as we're about to talk about, big bloated budgets do not always get you the best results.
No, they certainly fucking don't.
But that said, I'm still willing to call like a gem, and I think Marvel Rivals is a fucking fun ass game, man. Like I'm still playing the hell out of it.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone on that one. I know a lot of people who are either playing it or have played it and really liked it. Basically, all the reviews are just glowing. So I might give it a try here again soon. I don't know. I've got a lot of stuff that I'm focused on.
Sure.
But yeah, it seems.
I do it at like my when I get like the chance at the end of a day, my wind down period, that's usually when I'll pop on and stream, and it'll usually be that. And presently, Kingdom Come Deliverance, also a bit of a gem, like a real chill game to play out. Its combat system is not my favorite, and its lockpicking is literally the worst lockpicking I've ever played in a single video game.
Wow.
But there's something just kind of like chill, and the fact that the world does kind of like live and breathe. NPCs will move around. Somebody will say like, hey, meet me here at dawn. If you don't meet them there, you're not completing that quest.
Dang.
Like they just will fuck off and leave you behind. So I appreciate a game that treats me like an intelligent person that I'm not. Yeah. As far as movies that do not necessarily treat me like an intelligent person, let's talk about Captain America: Brave New World. I'm coming off as like real negative here, so I'm gonna give like a couple of caveats. In a vacuum, as just an MCU movie, I think this is fine. As a movie that takes place in the ever-expanding Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think it's fine. Like a 6, maybe 6.5 out of 10. Above Thor: Dark World, below all of the Ant-Man movie. Admittedly, I actually like Quantumania more than 90% of people, so that's where I sit there. As a movie on its own in isolation, it's not good. Just because you need all of this background information, including from The Incredible Hulk, which was a movie that came out nearly 15 years ago. You need all of the information from that movie, even though they kind of explain it over to you. Like they give you the information.
Wait, when you say nearly 15 years ago, you mean over 15 years ago?
Near can imply over.
I'm just saying. Hey, look.
I'm estimating. I don't remember when it came out. So you need to know Incredible Hulk to really get this movie. So in isolation, this movie is like it can stand on its own on a few grounds, just as kind of like the sort of, I don't know, like sort of political thriller that it wants to be. But it requires, like, for full enjoyment, you need to know a lot about the universe. Unfortunately, you can't appreciate this movie in a vacuum regardless, because its political message is so antithetical to the world we live in right now.
I would say that the entire film itself is so fundamentally flawed from the ground up for a myriad of different reasons that no part of it succeeded for me, with one small exception.
What would that be?
I really liked, was it Joaquin Torres?
Oh, was the other Falcon?
Yeah, he was
Falcon.
He was the best part of the movie, no question.
That's incredible. I felt like he could have been dropped from the movie and it would have been better for me.
That would have been the worst. I would have hated the movie. I would have absolutely hated this movie if he weren't in it. Because he's the only character in there with any charisma. He's the only one having fun. He's the only one doing anything, saying anything that's interesting. Like, I love the fact that when Sam takes him to meet Isaiah, it feels like a dude coming over to a friend's place and meeting their grandpa.
He did feel like a little too obnoxious and, like, I guess, like, quippy. He was too Marvel quippy for me, I think.
But everyone else in the movie is boring and dull. Like, and this is coming from the guy. Remember, I am the guy who has consistently and constantly said that Marvel quips too much, that they never allow their characters to be serious and have serious moments and let those actually, like, sink in, because, oh no, gotta make sure that we don't take this too seriously, otherwise it's cringe.
It's weird because, like, I see Anthony Mackie doing his thing, and his sense of humor is less Marvel quippy and more like dry sarcasm and sardonicism, which I think kind of works from time to time.
unfortunately, the problem with Anthony Mackie in this film is that he's given nothing to do. He's given nothing to work with. Like, there's this, like, we don't know what his internal conflict is besides, I don't know if I should be Captain America. Maybe I should have taken the serum. And
Which, yeah, he should have.
Which,
if I'm gonna be honest,
I'll also be honest. It kind of doesn't seem like there's a downside to taking the serum, except for one particular point, which I think is valid, and that's he wants to be a man who is succeeding on his own merits and his own virtues, which would set an example for other people. I think there's a part of him that doesn't like the idea of taking that serum because it would fundamentally make him different from a normal human being. And I think that's something that he values.
Ultimately, he's just kind of replacing a serum with a Wakanda supersuit.
Yeah, but that's a suit. There is a difference between your own body being able to do these insane, amazing things and using a tool to do them. I think that's why most people like, you know, with Steve Rogers, he essentially gave up himself to become that person. He gave up his own humanity in a way. We see that affect him too in that first movie. We never really go much into it in the movies after, but he is fundamentally different from normal people now in a way that like Tony Stark, that's not his problem. He's very human. That's a big part of him. And
I think you're taking away like the entire message of what Cap was. Like the thing that, like, with Steve Rogers, the conflict between him and Tony, which was resolved very beautifully in Endgame, like Tony saying everything special from you came from a bottle, is not the point. It's his core. It's his humanity, his utter humanity that makes Steve Rogers Steve Rogers. I think you're...
No, I'm not saying that he's inhuman. I'm not saying that he can't empathize or that he doesn't have this great well of what do you call it? I guess empathy. What I'm saying is, for him and normal people, there is going to be ultimately a disconnect because while he does embody all these amazing virtues, while he does good for the sake of doing good, while he sets that example, he is still fundamentally different from normal people. He is a superhuman. And, you know, that's not saying you can't derive a lot of hope and God, dogs. I love dogs, but
yeah, I see what you're getting at. There was this one line that I felt like rang a little hollow, which I think was one of the reshoots where they're trying to like fix the script somehow, where Bucky, who I guess is running for Senate, shows up and is like, Cap gave people something to believe in. You give them something to aspire to. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Cap did both those things.
Yeah, no, he did inspire people, but he wants to do it in... I get this idea that Sam wants to do it in a way where other people don't like see him more as a normal person. And I get that. I totally get that. Because if I were living in that universe, I'd be like, oh yeah, Captain Steve Rogers, Captain America, super awesome guy. Love what he does. But if I saw Sam Wilson going out there and doing the same thing as a normal person, that would be just generally like, I'd be like, holy shit, that's amazing. Like,
yeah, it's crazy when Sam Wilson got up there, took an axe to the gut, a knife to the tit, and just kept going.
Yeah, so...
Real normal man's...
Yeah, no, that is... Yeah, like, let's not get into the fact that this movie completely ignores what a normal person can handle.
Yeah, no, he's action hero level person regardless.
Yeah, and that's...
Also his knees, like that Wakandan, like whatever dampening he's got going on there, his knees are not taking that hit from flying like at Mach 3 straight down.
Like, if you want to tell me that the suit, the suit that he's got on can do that, okay.
Fine, I believe it. Vibranium, it's magic material.
But also, like, you never really specify that, like, in the film at all, that he can literally just jump off a fucking building and land fine, because that's what he can essentially do. It doesn't matter how high of a fall. He as long as he lands on his feet, apparently he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah, it's insane to me.
And don't get me wrong, I liked the action scenes in this movie. I thought they were some of the stronger beats.
I really, really like the scene at the, what do you call it? The thing that's reaching out of the sea from the Eternals.
The Celestial?
Yeah. The fight at the Celestial is so fucking good. because it is the only time in this movie where it feels like everyone knew the assignment. Make a bitchin' dog fight with the Celestial as the set piece and get creative and go wild with it. It was so good. I actually paid attention during that. I mean, I tried to pay attention to the entire thing, but I actively had to try with most of the film. But at this part, I just was like, holy shit. And I was like, this is amazing. I love this.
Can I tell you about my film going experience?
Oh.
So I had to see this alone because neither Stefan nor Jesse, I could not pay them to see this movie.
Yeah, I know. I get that.
Literally, I could not pay them to see this movie.
Yeah.
So I decided to go out of my way and get gimmick seats, those 4DX, like where you're sitting in the like roller coaster lock-in chair shit.
Yeah, okay.
Where it'll spray water at you. Don't do that in a 3D movie, by the way. Like, don't spray water at people because you got the fucking glasses on. Like,
yeah, also...
think that shit through.
Yeah. I had to deal with that when I was at Universal Studios in Japan.
Yeah. It is... like... I'm not going to do it again, but it was kind of fun. Like, we're just kind of getting, like, jostled around, shook, basically thrown around. And I'm going to give some parents in this audience a lot of credit, because there was a birthday party, like a 6-year-old's birthday party there. And those kids shut the fuck up the entire time.
My
Good
God.
on those parents. The only time they started talking was at, like, the end. Like, the final climactic fight. Because those seats are going fucking wild when, like, the Red Hulk is, like, smashing shit and, like, throwing shit around. Those seats like, fuck, shit, fuck, where am I going? It goes insane, and only after that was done did the kids actually liven up a bit. I'm like, you know what? I'll let them have that, because that was insane. I thought I was about to die.
That's interesting. I've never done that before, so that definitely sounds like it would have
worth it once. I'm not sure I'd do it again. Maybe if it's the right movie, but this felt like the right movie. I'm going to see it alone. I may as well. I took an edible and I almost died. It was fine. Just.
Also, oh man, so I haven't seen a movie inebriated in quite a while, but that was kind of, but if I had to be honest with you, like,
it helps. It helps a lot.
I was going to say, if I had to be bluntly honest, that was the only action scene I kind of cared about so much, because when it came to the rest of those action scenes, they were either...
A lot of them were reshoots. Everything with Giancarlo, reshoot. Because do you know that originally Seth Rollins was that character?
So originally, not only was Seth Rollins that character, but the entire use of the Serpent Society was different.
Mm-hmm.
The original we originally opened on a Mexican airport, and we get to see the entire Serpent Society,
not just Sidewinder.
Yeah. And that the movie was way campier before all these reshoots. Now, I cannot and will not say whether or not the original would have been better necessarily, but I will say a movie that basically went through as many with 5, I think it's, how many, is it 5 writers?
It had a lot of writers, and the editors were probably holding on for dear life.
Yeah, I cannot imagine being the writer for this movie, or no, the editor for this movie, because Jesus Christ alive. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 5. There are 5 people credited on the screenplay. What? No. Jesus, no.
Yeah, there were a shit ton of rewrites. Giancarlo's whole part got added in, which is, like, I already can't really buy him as an action threat. Like, he did fine. But it's clear, like, you know, when he's just walking through his scenes, it's obvious when there's a stunt double. And there was a lot, like, even to my stupid eye, very obvious green screening.
Oh, the green screening in this movie is some of the most
like shit that you'd see on a Surfshark ad from Us level.
The fake backgrounds are offensive in this one. I was genuinely, there's one shot. A lot of people have talked about these, especially in that, like, there's this one shot in the Spider-Man, I think it was No Way Home, where I think it had to do with Flash. There's that one shot that everyone always brings up, like, oh, look at this bad green screen. That green screen looks amazing compared to half the stuff in this one. Because there's just this shot with the Thinker. Is it the Thinker?
It's the Thinker.
Yeah, there's this shot with the Thinker that I literally out loud said, oh my fucking god.
Yeah,
And
you could practically see the halo. The lighting on each of the on the character versus the scene is so different.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Like-
and by the way, everyone who's watching this, like, wow, they're not talking about the plot at all. They're not going through scene by scene.
I can get to the plot, but the
Yeah.
plot is
barely anything.
it's unfortunate. Like I like the plot that they were telling. Like the idea
You like the story. The plot sucks.
I mean, I guess they're like everything's just going haywire. There's this like conspiracy of like people getting like reprogrammed through their phones to basically try to kill the president of the United States. There's a whole scene where like the president of the United States just turns in like, gets out of control, and the entire Secret Service just whips out their weaponry and starts opening fire on the president of the United States. And that's, I guess, a little amusing, but it's just like the whole plot just kind of revolves around one guy being able to hack into phones and reprogram them. And it's crazy to me, that Bucky is not more involved as a like previous Manchurian candidate level character.
You have a bunch of essentially, how do you put this, improv sleeper agents who are being used to threaten the president's life in order to create conflict between the United States and other countries, all to ruin one man's life.
Yeah. And then you have this character who had previously been used as that, and he's just in one scene. It's weird to say that this should have been a Winter Soldier story, because the story that they're telling makes more sense for him to want to resolve.
Yeah, it's a, oh my god, it's a sequel to the Hulk, while also being a story that really should have centered around the Winter Soldier, but instead we have Sam Wilson, who has very little to no place in this plot, save for the inclusion of Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, other than like the inclusion of Isaiah Bradley and him being Captain America, and like the fact that like the president wants to reform the Avengers to like try to like make good on some previous mistakes. Credit to Harrison Ford, who did not phone it in. I liked him in this movie. No, I legitimately don't think he phoned this one in.
Are you? Oh wow, you were high.
I was very high.
Yeah,
but
no,
I liked her.
I'm sorry.
I liked him.
Okay, I have no idea. Like, no,
I think he is one of the stronger parts in this movie.
He is terrible. He's so bad. He doesn't give a shit. He is barely giving anything here. He's
giving more here than he has given in a long time, which, granted, to your credit, still isn't a whole, like, what he's given previously has not been a lot in recent years, but I thought he was one of the stronger points of this movie.
Maybe it's the dialogue for me that just kind of threw it, but it felt like every line of dialogue he was delivering was given with this, wow, I'm really reading this out loud. Okay, I guess I'll try a little bit. But I never bought him for a second. Everything he said, all of his expressions, his line delivery, it all felt so stilted and barely there.
If you want to talk stilted, let's talk about his head of security. Like, she was the most wooden out of any character in this.
If I remember correctly, they kind of really changed her. Apparently, she was very different in the original film, like the original cut.
Maybe her acting is a victim of massive reshoots then, because she, oh boy.
Yeah, I have no idea about her at all.
She is either never going to win an acting award in her life, or she is going to win all of the Oscars. I cannot tell with her.
Yeah, I know very little about the actress. All I can say is that in this movie, she's a really weird character to have. Like, a genuinely strange character. Like, you barely get anything about her other than you find out that she was one of those old, what was it? The Blank Room.
Oh, Red Room?
Yeah, she was an old Red Room victim. Assassin. And first of all, that's a weird thing for the United States to employ as the bodyguard of a president. That is a very, very
Natasha
strange.
Romanoff was one of their most effective like agents. So
I suppose that's true. It's just, okay, wow, we're really going to do, okay, sure. Do we get any information about her besides that? No, she's just sort of here. Is she gonna? So are we just kind of setting her up to be in other films? I have no idea. She's just such a weird character who kind of is just there to be the person who originally opposes Sam, but then changes sides when she finds out he's right.
Yeah, and her demeanor never changes throughout.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's either very good acting or very bad acting, and I can't tell at the moment.
I don't know about her acting necessarily, because the character is supposed to sort of be very stoic.
Yeah.
But it's just hard to place because we never really get a moment where we get to see her as an actual person. Like, the closest we do, I feel like, is in that one scene where she shows up at the prison and the dude, one of the guards there.
One of the guards gets brainwashed.
Yeah, and then kills all the other terrorists.
Other brainwashed assassins.
You're right. Sorry, yeah. He kills all the other brainwashed people, which, yeah, that.
Kaiser, white guys with guns can't be terrorists. You know this.
Fair enough. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it is such a weird film because it feels like there's so little connecting tissue to everything that's going on, and everything is explained through little bits of dialogue that definitely feel like were not in their original script or were very different in different scenes.
Yeah, it's so weird looking at it and thinking, like, how much of this was the original movie? I want to say the Celestial fight was in the original movie. I want to say, like, the Red Hulk fight was in the original movie. I want to say that part of that opening sequence where he is saving hostages is the original movie. But almost all of the rest of it, I feel like, were rewrites.
No, that original, again, like I told you, that opening originally took place at a Mexican airport, not a monastery.
Okay, well, never mind.
Yeah, no, that part's not in there. Everything to do with Giancarlo Esposito, not in there. Like, I can believe that everything with, also, The Thinker, all of his stuff was refilmed. Because originally he didn't have
like it.
Yeah, he didn't have that weird fucking head thing. He just had a big head. Which, to be fair, I've seen the pictures of what he looked like because merch came out for it, and it looks silly.
Yeah, I think he looked fine how they ended up with him in this. With his big lumpy brain face.
I think he looked better in that he did not look as kind of okay. He didn't look as silly, but also he's sort of super duper unmemorable. Like, I see that, and I see something that's kind of gross and weird, but visually he's just kind of, he's gross and weird. That's it. Yeah. Also, he just sucked. He is so bad. He is in like the top.
He could have been great. Is the thing, like, the level of threat he seems to possess could have been great. Like, I liked his story, this idea, like, look, I was locked away, they made me do experiments for the government, he told me he'd give me a pardon once he got there, but fuck him, now I'm gonna tear everything down. I buy that as motivation. I buy that. I like that part of the story.
I could definitely see that. I like that as a story for a villain a lot, actually. The problem is that he just sucks, and the big problem, I think, was you have a villain whose entire power is that he can predict things to an amazing degree. His power of prediction is his whole thing. It's essentially he sees the timelines.
Yeah, he sees the probability.
Yeah, which, okay, that could be really cool, but there are two big issues with that. One, you gotta know how to write him really well, and two, you've gotta basically make the plot around that.
And three, Zemo did it better.
Zemo, man. Oh, by the way, before we continue, I'd like to take a second to just say, Falcon and Winter Soldier, you just went up a whole fucking grade for me because of this movie. Because, damn, you really did everything this movie is trying to do, but significantly better. If it weren't for the fact that it mishandled the Flag Smashers to a degree that put me off the entire show. Also, like, oh, hey, Isaiah Bradley, we know that you were tortured by the government, but don't worry, at the very end, you get a wing inside this museum, and there's a statue, and now everybody will know your story. Because that's almost the same as making fundamental changes to the system.
I did like speaking of like little character moments and things that I actually liked. I do want to pepper in things that I did like in this movie, just because, again, I don't think it's dog shit. I don't think it's terrible.
Oh,
I know you do. I know you do, and that's fine. You just need to be high.
Hey, I'm moving to California. Give me some time.
But I did like the character moment early on where Sam was doing like some training against Isaiah, and he's like wailing around the heavy bag. I'm like, okay, I'm digging this. I like those little moments.
Oh yeah, almost like Isaiah Bradley. It was a great character, and their use of them in this movie was really good. I actually, yeah, that's the fucked up thing. I could definitely say, I can't say if the original movie would be better, but I can say all of the reshoots were very bad. All the stuff involving that, you could tell, was just worse in general. I don't know if this stuff was reshot, but it definitely feels like this belonged in the movie, and I liked it. I really liked I love their whole dynamic.
Yeah, the opening act is pretty all right. I don't dislike Giancarlo Esposito. I've loved him in pretty much everything I've seen of him, but knowing that all of his parts were reshoots really does mar that entire plot line.
I mean, it's nothing.
It is
nothing. Like he doesn't actually.
And I don't buy him as an action villain. I buy him as the guy in the chair.
Yeah.
As an action villain.
I don't know. I could buy him. I have no idea.
He's not John Wick.
No.
He's not he's not that kind of a character.
I like him. You know me. I've loved him in everything I've ever seen him in. He was kind of the only reason that I got so much out of Cyberpunk Edge Runners, because he's just, hey, it's Giancarlo Esposito in an anime. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. In this movie, he has no place in it. He is the secondary bad guy that is meant to distract distract and or bait the main character, which I feel like when you had the Serpent Society doing that, it might have been more fitting, because then you have all these like campy villain guys, and then you have the one guy in the back who's like dark and menacing and controlling everything that's happening. But here, it all feels barely strung together and discordant. And yeah, I'm sorry, but Bucky coming in after that whole amazing scene over the Celestial, Joaquin Torres gets fucked and ends up in he's
in the ICU.
Yeah, he's in the ICU. He's being operated on, and we have a whole scene where Sam Wilson is standing outside of the window and he's looking in, and it's like, oh man, will Joaquin Torres be okay? And then in comes fucking Bucky to give Sam his little speech,
pep talk, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I was just in the area because I'm on my campaign trail.
I'm running for senator. It's like, what? Okay.
Yeah. Well, was it senator? I just know they said that she says congressman after
Congress, whatever.
Yeah. No, because she comes in like, he's like, yeah, I'm on my campaign. Blah blah blah. It's like, oh, don't worry, Sam. You're good. You're good. You're good, man. You're good.
You're Captain America. You're good. You're a great guy.
And then he leaves. Then he fucks off. And it's like, oh, bye, Bucky. Not like I could not totally use you right now.
I could really use some help.
Yeah, apparently your whole running for Congress is more important than everything that's going on with the president. And fine, fuck it. And so...
Speaking of characters that also should have been there, the Hulk.
Hold on. Wait, before we get to that, the piece of dialogue that she has. What's her name? Do you remember her name? The Red Room girl comes in, and she's like, was that Congressman Bucky Barnes?
Yeah.
She uses his whole name, but I'm like, or no, soon to be
James Buchanan Barnes.
Yeah, is that soon to be Congressman James Buchanan Barnes? And I'm like, why would you phrase it like that?
Because people don't watch the MCU shows, Kaiser.
I know.
Was this even brought up in a show? I don't fucking know.
The first actually, no, it's not brought up in a show. They're setting up for the Thunderbolts. There's a line at the very beginning of the movie. The first goddamn thing that Harrison Ford says is, "Have you heard from Betty, my daughter?"
Mm-hmm.
Why are you specifying that with the people who are working under you? They know who your daughter is. What is this?
It's for the audience.
I know,
who
but
maybe haven't.
But that's so bad. Like, that's the first line of the movie.
They forgot about Galadriel, man.
I can't. This is so clumsy. Like, did anyone care?
It's like asking if they ever cared about the Hulk. All of, like, Bruce Banner's plot happens off screen.
Oh,
we
yeah.
Never, we never see him originally become the Hulk, which is admittedly because, like, the Universal movie came out, like, 5 years before and spent, like, ages getting to his origin. But we never see him become the Hulk. Like, he's just the Hulk. We never see what happens after he leaves. We just know that he fucks off and he spends time running away from the military.
Yeah.
We never see his development with Natasha, how, you know, she learned how to tame the Hulk, reach the, you know, the center of the beast, the man within the beast. We never see how Hulk reacts when he lands on Sakaar and suddenly, like, he becomes this folk hero. We never get to see that moment. We only get to see the aftermath and him leaving. We never get to see him have his, like, actual, bringing together the brain and the beast, and then we end up with just awful CGI Mark Ruffalo instead of the Hulk, which people like. And then by She-Hulk, he's already figured out how to undo all of the Hulkness with, like, a fucking dampening thing. And now we have the sequel to his movie where all of the characters from his origin movie are coming together, doing stuff. He's nowhere.
I don't even know if he was mentioned even once.
No.
Yeah.
Hulk was mentioned because Thunderbolt Ross was known as the Hulk Hunter. That's about as much as we get.
Yeah. It's awful. And the way the MCU has ultimately treated the Hulk, which I get why.
Licensing.
You can't make Hulk movies. Which honestly, I would have gone to Universal and said, make Hulk movies. Let us fucking just make some Hulk movies, please.
They have more negotiating power than Sony did, just because they're backed by Comcast. But yeah, they could have come to some agreement.
Yeah, there had to be something they could have done, because it would have been good for them. The Hulk was not exactly an unpopular character by the time Avengers came out. I understand that the first movie that's technically connected to the MCU isn't as popular as Iron Man was that same year. Like, if you look at the box office numbers, it kind of just did not do as well.
It's still, like, I think it still stands up as a movie in the MCU, though. Like, I like the original Incredible Hulk movie from this run.
I definitely think that it's way stronger than a lot of other comic book films at the time. And I definitely have to say that, man, Edward Norton as Bruce Banner was inspired. Too bad he's a dick.
Yeah, he had to get facial reconstructive surgery and became Mark Ruffalo.
It's just, it's tough because, yeah, Hulk gets so misused. His entire storyline is glossed over, which, if you're a Hulk fan, must really be rough. I can't imagine, because I'm not like the biggest Hulk fan over here. So for me, it was just peculiar and a little unsatisfying. For them, it must have just been shit. Right?
Hulk's apparently been having, like, a great run of comics lately. Like, the whole Green Door thing, apparently, like, the Immortal Hulk run.
Oh, really?
Has apparently been really, like, Martin was gushing over it for a long time.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I got out of comics a little bit.
Oh, I got out of comics, like, a while ago. Like, I'll pick up a comic occasionally just because they're fun. Like, I read The Last Ronin, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle story recently.
They're making a movie off of that.
I can see why. It's the freshest take on Ninja Turtles in a while. Like, in terms of, like, original stories, not just, like, the bodacious teenagers doing cool things. Yeah, another thing that this movie mishandled, and this is on marketing, I think.
Oh,
which is a double-edged sword, because you need people to go in and you need people to see the movie for a reason. And frankly, I don't see any other way they could have advertised this movie by getting people to do it. But Red Hulk was meant to be a reveal in this movie.
Yeah,
like he's
oh.
that sucks for, like, the original writer must have been sitting there like, oh man, because it's like the idea is seeded throughout that there's something going on with the president. Like they have to usher him out of tense situations. He's like, you can't, I know, while they're getting him out of like a rough situation, and because they know that he's gonna freak the fuck out. Because he, like, there's a monster inside of him.
Yeah.
So this idea is seeded throughout. We get like little hints of it, but if you've seen any marketing, you're like, he's the Hulk. He's the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
He's the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
And it's a third act reveal that could have been really good if the marketing hadn't fucking spanked it.
Yeah. There are multiple reasons that it does not work in this movie. One, yeah, it's supposed to be a reveal, and they completely botched it. Two, he was originally supposed to die. So
I can see that.
Yeah, and while I absolutely understand that he gets talked down and everything, no, he was originally supposed to die. Adamantium was supposed to absorb gamma radiation. There was supposed to be a whole thing with that, and he was supposed
by the way, Adamantium's in the MCU now, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's the entire reason this movie exists, is to say...
I don't mind that as an international, like, thing. Apparently, Adamantium is just celestial bone marrow or something.
Yeah. Also, hey, that's a cool way to introduce Adamantium, I won't lie.
Yeah.
Like, why hasn't Adamantium been in the MCU? Because we didn't have it yet. Now we do.
Yeah, now it's here. It's here now.
Okay, cool.
That's fine. I like that.
And also, like, there being trade wars over it. Also really interesting.
And they're seeding the idea of, like, the Silver Samurai and stuff like that, because Japan is one of the big forces that's, getting that adamantium.
Yeah. Which Quinn was talking about this, and I'm not going to speak too much to my own knowledge about how it would work, but he was like, it's really weird that Japan is involved in a conflict with something happening in the Indian Sea. I'm like, I guess so. But it's, yeah, I think it was, how do I say, it's a cool plot point. It introduces adamantium.
When he did say, like, we got this new element, adamantium, I'm like, I will admit there was that fanboy part of me that's like, oh, Wolverine.
Oh yeah, and they're already gearing up to make a new X-Men film. There's a lot of rumors going around who might play who. There's a rumor going around that maybe Ayo Edebiri might be Storm. Don't like that. I love her. Don't no.
Yeah, I've been paying much attention to like the casting theories and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, yeah, Red Hulk was originally supposed to die, and I think that would have been way better. Like this, like, because I get it. There's this whole thing with him and his daughter, which I'm not sure how much of that was in the original cut. Definitely doesn't feel like it was supposed to be. But at the end, like, oh, well, now they're going to make up, and it's like, oh, that's kind of nice. But also, this dude fucking sucks. I'm sorry.
You're also keeping him in the same exact prison as the Thinker, so that's kind of funny. I wonder if they're in the same block.
Oh my god. But the whole thing is, he's kind of awful. He's actually a terrible person.
But he's trying to change, Kaiser.
Yeah, he's trying to change, but then he immediately, like, how am I supposed to believe, like, he was trying to change when we have this entire storyline about all the awful things he did to this guy, and then does to Isaiah Bradley immediately after that? Like, if you'd shown me that he was trying to change and trying to make up for those things before he went into Red Hulk mode, I might be more sympathetic. But honest to God, no, this dude's actually fucking terrible. And I'm not saying he deserved to die for being terrible, but the movie frames it in a way where, oh, he's coming back down, and now he's on his road to recovery. And it's like, fuck you, this guy's awful. He intentionally ruined people's lives because of his own insecurity. Fuck him, and yeah. And frankly, it's just, I don't know.
They make a big deal about the fact that, like, I mean, you were the one who, like, hunted me around the world. Like, you were the one who was, like, hunting me doggedly for, like, years after the Sokovia Accords and stuff like that. Like really talking up the fact that, like, no, you were wrong. You were very wrong. And the fact that he literally ruined Banner's life, which they don't really go super into. I think they bring it up, like, tacitly. But I think a lot of his sympathetic scenes and the reason that he did live are part of the rewrites, because if you'll notice throughout, Like that scene early on when he's being escorted away from the assassination attempt, and they're like, Mr. President, you need to stay calm. I know. They're seeding the idea that some people already know that he's the Hulk.
Maybe.
But it's revealed near the end that nobody knew. Absolutely nobody. And I think that's part of the rewrites. I think originally what happened was the experiments to save his heart, while maybe that's where they started, turned him into the Red Hulk to begin with. And he already knew that.
Maybe.
And maybe he was trying to become that so he could actually fight monsters, which I think was the original Thunderbolt Ross's reason for becoming the Red Hulk. So don't quote me on that. I've never read any Red Hulk storylines.
Yeah, I couldn't speak to it.
But I feel like part of the rewrite was to get rid of the, like, he knows he's the Red Hulk aspect of it. And to try to, like, make him a bit more sympathetic. And I don't know how much of that was because of what's happening in the real world. And that bothers me.
So that's hard to say because who knows?
This kumbaya, come together, we can speak out our, like, differences. It just rings so fucking hollow in our current climate.
It really fucking does, if I had to be honest. Because I'm not going to get too political here, but also the movie's pretty political by its very nature. But the fact that, the whole thing at the end is like, we have to be able to talk to each other about these things, and we need to be able to come together. And that's how he talks down the giant orange president who's wrecking everything.
Yeah. I mean, he was wrecking things so bad that the entire Secret Service had to pull out their weapons and shoot the President of the United States. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's how bad he was wrecking Washington, D.C.
Yeah, can you imagine if things got that bad? My God.
That'd be crazy. Absolutely nutty. But yeah, it just rings so... It feels so hollow in the current climate. That's what really kind of like dragged this out for me, because in a vacuum, I can appreciate this as a comic book movie. I don't think it's a particularly good comic book movie, but in a vacuum, I can appreciate it like that. I can't watch it in a vacuum, though.
I liked certain parts of it, but again, the parts that I liked were everything with Joaquin Torres. Because again, I love the energy he brings. He definitely feels like he is the guy there. First of all, I really like his actor. I didn't actually even like him all that much in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I kind of thought he was a little obnoxious.
I forgot he was in it.
I kind of did too. It wasn't until halfway through the movie that I started to remember, oh yeah, he was in that. So, like, because I was, like, watching this movie, like, who is that? And then I was reminded, I'm like, oh, yeah, that is right. But he, in this, he's bringing a lot of great energy, and I like his friendship with Sam. They feel like they've got a good little dynamic going. And that's why and again, that whole scene with Isaiah at the beginning, great stuff. I really dug on that. But then, after that, it's just nothing but...
When it's trying to be this Tom Clancy political thriller, but it's just like... It's
with awful dialogue.
Tonally kind of all over the place, yeah.
Also, I'm going to be really frank with you. I get that he needs this wild power set to be able to do what he does, but the fact that Red Wing just basically does half the work for him. Red Wing does so much of his job, and it's like, damn.
I like that it gives him a bit more identity. Like it's not like Red Wing hasn't already existed. So
yeah, but it's like, oh, hey, go loop the footage. Go eject this person from the falling plane. Like what can't this little guy do? Apparently,
he's the real hero. Red Wing, the movie.
I know, right? It's so weird.
The part I wonder about is like, did Stark make Red Wing? Like, who made Red Wing?
That's a good question. Who the hell made this?
Because if he has it, and it's like, because it's clearly not part of his original, like, suits tech, because we saw that in Winter Soldier, and obviously Torres doesn't have it, so
yeah, no,
it's just a thing that he has that was made by somebody for him.
Hold on, I'm curious now. Who made Red Wing MCU? Stark Industries.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So Tony gave him a boost to his original equipment.
Yeah.
Which is why he looks the way he does in Ant-Man. And then the Wakandans gave him
Another thing. They changed the suit halfway through, and they changed, like, look, I didn't love that suit at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, but you could have made just small changes, like the collar, the head stuff. Those could have been changed. You could have slimmed it down just a little bit. You could have made the little changes.
Yeah, I think just goggles were fine. I think that was a big improvement.
But going back to the old colors halfway through, that sucked. I hated that. Like, hey, the entire point here is he's supposed to be his own Captain America. So he should have his own colors, his own setup, his own unique look. No, screw you. We're going back to the old ones. What the hell? Also, I liked, maybe it was a little too much white, but the white looked good on him.
It did. The white was good.
Yeah. Why did we get rid of his suit? You could have just made small changes to streamline it and make it not look quite as hard to move in as the show did. You didn't need to just get rid of it halfway through.
No.
It's really disappointing. It's
odd. Because it's not like he got a new suit out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The Wakandans didn't give him a second suit.
It was kind of just there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think this movie is dog shit. And I think it's dog shit not because every part of it is bad, but it's just too fundamentally broken. Like, and in that regard, it is... If you had a movie that was not fundamentally broken, but was just bad throughout, I don't know if I would necessarily think that is better, but it definitely, like, this movie just doesn't work now. There's just too many things that are wrong about it.
Yeah, when it comes to the MCU, I mean, really it comes down to the Fantastic Four. That's going to be, like, really telling as to what the future of this series is going to be. Thunderbolts, recent marketing for it, I'm actually like, this could be good. It could be fun.
It's interesting because I've heard good buzz.
Yeah, right?
That's got me
it hasn't had like 7,000 reshoots.
Yeah, and the little bit of action I've seen from the movie was creative and good. So I'm a little bit curious about it. As someone who really liked Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm
a ragtag group of underdog heroes. I can bite.
Yeah, I mean, I like Guardians of the Galaxy for a lot of reasons, not just it being that, but I am predisposed to that.
It was that done well.
Yeah, it was that done very well. If we are basically taking up, because the Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe, is just finished. We're never going to get into one of those films. So if we're taking up that spirit with the Thunderbolts, okay, I'm curious. I'd like to see where they go with that. I mean, David Harbour is still like one of my least favorite characters in the entire MCU.
I saw him at Bob's Big Boy the other week.
Oh, wow.
Just walked in. He's a big fella.
Huh.
Very hard to miss.
Yeah, I really liked him. I really love him in Stranger Things. I think they fucked up his character in season 3, was it? Or 2?
Look, it's been 5 years since the last episode of Stranger Things came out, so.
What?
It's been years since Stranger Things dropped.
How many years did you say?
I feel like 5. It feels like an eternity.
It's not been 5, but I think it's been 3. Hold on. When are we getting more Stranger Things?
Yeah, when was the last episode of Stranger Things? I don't know. But no, I'm excited to see what comes from Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. The inner child in me still loves superheroes, man. I'll go back and I'll rewatch MCU movies. I still feel that pull on my heartstrings when I watch Captain America do his sacrificial shit. I love that.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you don't have to tell me. I cried at that. I cried at the last...
I was so happy when he was dancing at the end. I'm like, yay.
Yeah, fuck you. All you people like, oh, Captain America would never do that. Fuck you. Let him have his happy ending. He deserved it. He earned it.
He deserved that, and I was happy for him, and it made me happy. Shut up.
Yeah, shut up. I'm not listening to this.
Not everybody needs to be a sacrificial hero. In fact, the fact that he got his happy ending and Tony was the martyr, that makes so much sense for both of their character arcs, and that makes me happy.
Yeah. Captain America gave his entire life to that. Let him be happy. Yeah, no. I mean, we've already talked about why the MCU is kind of broken. I would love to make a video about that if I wouldn't be the billionth person to do it, and probably be less informed than the people who have done it best.
Yeah.
But damn, just watching every single terrible misstep. Jonathan Majors was definitely just the.
That
Wow.
was unfortunate.
Well,
One of the biggest mistakes they made was showing that Kang was all the same dude. Because they could have just had Kang be different people.
I don't know if that would works with what Kang's whole deal is, though.
And yet we've had we had John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, and now we have Pedro Pascal. So
Pedro Pascal is still a weird choice for that. I like.
it's
Pedro
an interesting
Pascal.
casting choice. I'll hold off. I like Pedro. So
Yeah, I do too. Weird choice, but maybe it'll pan out. That being said, though, you were talking about Fantastic Four. I do think Fantastic Four could be good. I really like that trailer. That trailer was like, ooh, all right, everything about this is working.
also, am I the only okay? I can't be the only one that thinks that it has been digitally altered to show that Sue Storm is not pregnant in the trailer.
Huh.
The movie's called First Steps, and I think they're trying to seed Franklin Richards.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe. All I know is that that first trailer was pretty good, and those posters were AI. The people saying it wasn't. Don't just. First of all, don't use AI for your fucking posters, and second, don't try and deny it. I saw those posters. Those are AI. That's fucking AI. Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, the movie, it could actually be good. I got goosebumps from the trailer. I like the placement. Oh my god, fucking what's his face? The Thing looks amazing. He looks so good.
Yeah, he's also great in Marvel Rivals. Swinging back around to that.
Yeah,
Big punchy boy.
but
Yeah, I like its retro futurism. I like everything that they're playing within it. I'm looking forward to it.
I don't know how they're gonna work them into modern day. That's the thing I'm sort of curious about. Because,
That's easy. Just do an Interstellar. They went out into space and they show up later.
yeah, but that doesn't that reek just a little bit of what they did with Cap?
I mean, yeah, but it's an easy way to get around it. I mean, also, Fantastic Four play with interdimensional shits and time travel stuff just on a day-to-day basis. Like, their casual weekly villain is an Avengers level threat. Like, that's what they are.
It's true. I always found that sort of interesting because the Fantastic Four always felt like they were getting A-tier superhero stories in terms of threat. They always felt like such a B-string team. You have a dude who stretches, a dude who turns on fire, a lady who can turn invisible and make force fields, and a guy who's basically a worse version of the Hulk.
But the thing is, that guy that stretches is also, like, the smartest person in the fucking world and possibly universe. So.
Yeah. And I think that's what gives them the edge ultimately, is that Reed Richards is sort of a boss. He can also be a total asshole. That we see that in the story too.
1950s Reed, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we've made jokes about that one. But it is interesting. Like, and that's not the shit talk the Fantastic Four, by the way. I'm not out here saying like, oh, they are a B-string group of heroes.
They have not had a good movie yet, but
they haven't. There are a lot of apologists who will try.
Look, I enjoy the first Fox run Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, there are people who will apologize
for its
for those
cheesy
movies.
goodness, but it's still not great. You know,
nobody is out here apologizing for Fantastic though. Not a single person.
I still haven't seen that, so
I've seen it twice. Once because I was curious if it was really as bad as it was. It was. And second, because a friend of mine lost a bet, and I said, you have to watch this movie. But I'll watch it with you. And I just watched
Who really lost the bet?
Oh, well, I watched them the entire time because I was entertaining.
Gotcha. That's fair.
Yeah, it was fucking, it's so terrible.
But how about you out there? Have you seen Brave New World? I keep forgetting its subtitle because it's so bland. What did you think? Are you excited for the future of the MCU? Who are you maining in Marvel Rivals? Let us know in the comments and stuff. And like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah.
If Giancarlo Esposito wasn't wasted in this movie, who would you have cast him in the MCU?
Yeah. Sabretooth.
Sabretooth. Okay.